Hey guys, welcome to Breaking 80, where I am young girl Tammy, and this is my buddy Joel Wilson here, where we talk about our journey to go low, baby, and break 80, maybe.
Maybe. I'm trying.
You got out and played on Sunday. How did that
I
go?
did. I went out and played on Sunday. It was a tad bit warm here in Myrtle Beach. I played on a course I have never played at before. A gentleman, well, an attorney that I do some work for him. He brought another a potential new client for me to meet, and then my wife and we all went out and played. And I shot a blistering 82, 10 over.
That's incredible. That's a fantastic score, especially for being at a course you haven't played before, which is why they have practice rounds.
Exactly. But you're going through going, okay, I think there's water here. I guess this, and I was consistent. I was hitting the ball pretty good. There is a big dog leg left. Okay, boom, and it goes left. Now, I got up there and I said, I'm looking at from the GPS. I go, I can cut those trees. It's about a 260-yard carry. I can cut those trees. I know I can. Okay, and my wife goes, take the driver out and let's go hunt for the ball afterwards. Okay, hit a beautiful shot. And you know that a tree is 90% air, right? You've heard that.
I was actually going to say that. My thing is always 80%. I like your number better, 90%. I just go at it, baby.
Well, guess what? I didn't hit that 10% or that 20%. It went right through the trees, the very top of the trees. It went through there. So everybody else is hitting their balls, and I'm waiting around. And they're doing two. My wife was 3 shots. As we get around, she goes, is that your ball up there in the middle of the fairway? I said, I think it's a Wilson because I use Wilson balls. Drove up there. This is a 520-yard par 5, and I was 190 from the pin.
Off your drive?
That's a 330-yard drive. Because I cut the dog leg is the reason that it was that. Now, the next shot, I have trees in my way because this is a nasty hole. And I'm like, what are we doing? And they're like, well, I'm going to go this way, then come around. I go, I'm going over those trees. And my wife's like, you know what? You did it before. What are you going to take out? I said, I'm going to go 4-iron. And so I hit it, and now I got this group watching me. Now you have to be good.
Trees with the 4-iron.
Well, these trees are probably apex about 100 feet. Okay. So I got under that, and I hit the most beautiful 8-iron. And I'm doing a Sergio Garcia where I'm kind of running up going, go, and I'm running up. It hits and comes right at the big green and rolls to about 30 feet. And I'm like, I'm on the green in 2 on a par 5. Bam. Now everybody else is like, okay, we're picking up. I want to see what you can do. I get up there. I roll my putt to maybe 4.5 feet and then nail the birdie putt. And I'm like, I am done for the round. Count me out. I'm in.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Bye.
So that was my best hole I've done in a long.
That's so awesome. And that is what sucks you back in, baby.
Yeah.
That's what brings us back. Those are the moments where we're like, I might go pro. I have the skill.
No, I've got this. But then the next hole, you've got all that in you, and I hit a drive, and I mean, it went so far right, it was a Republican 3 times over. That's how far right it was. And I'm in the next, I kid you not, I'm in the next fairway, clipping it out, and ended up bogeying that hard. So I went 4-5 on a par 5-4. So I gave the stroke back. But you know what? I felt good. I'm keeping track of all my stuff in my little book here. And that says,
look at you, Maddie Fitzpatrick.
Ohio State University right there.
Okay.
And I'm keeping all my stats and everything that I'm doing here. Boom. And my last 3 times I have played 12 par 3s. I am 2 over on the par 3s in the last 12 times. I'm hitting those pretty good. I have hit 11 or 10 out of the 11 or 10 out of the 12 greens in regulation on par 3 the last 3 rounds.
Wow. Okay. All right. There you go. Man, the GERs are where it's at. The fairways in regulation obviously are a big help. Those mean a lot to me. But the GERs are where it's at, baby. I don't often go more than a 2-putt. So, yeah, I can get myself green in regulation. We should be able to get it out of there with a par for sure.
I had 2 sand saves. Let me see what I had real quick on
Nice.
The last round I've just played because my fairways were 3, 4, 5. I only hit 6 of 14 fairways in regulation. Only 6. My greens in regulation. It's
I got an 82.
What one? Or see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hit eight of 18 greens in regulation.
There you go.
And I had 4 one putts where I chipped it on so close and I one putted. So
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
how'd you?
You know, short game chipping. I mean, yeah, if you can chip yourself within putting distance, I mean, yeah, that's where strokes are won and lost.
Yes, it was.
Drive for show, putt for dough, baby.
That's exactly it.
Same.
So that's enough about me. You tell me about your game.
Oh man, I did not play yesterday. I played on Sunday.
Oh, so we both played on Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, I played on Sunday, admittedly hungover. I came off a very challenging work week in the hospital where I work in an ICU. I did 3 12s. I was up until 1 a.m. after work on Saturday, just kind of, you know, letting loose a little bit. Suffered a little bit on Sunday. Had the hair of the dog, Bloody Mary golf course breakfast of champion beverage. And then there was nobody out there. It was a wide fairway. I don't know what was happening around here on Sunday. It was beautiful. And so just kind of played freely. I definitely shot over 90. I didn't shoot super high, but I didn't break 80 or I didn't break 90 on Saturday or Sunday. And but I had a lot of fun. You know, if you choose to have a good time Saturday, go to the golf course Sunday like a trooper, but maybe you're suffering a little bit. That's the kind of golf you're going to play, maybe.
That's exactly. I can honestly say I have never played golf hungover, considering I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life.
Well, that'll do it. And that's where you may actually have a shot against me when we play together someday.
Exactly. Well, I will tell you, and this is a shout out to, and I talked to Zachary this morning, Zachary Williams for Drive Force, is that over the last couple of years, I haven't had a really good chance to play 18 holes. I've been struggling on the last portion of that. This weekend, we're playing, and we get around the 14th hole, and the 15th is a par 3, and I nail it right there, a little 7-iron right on there. And they're like, are you taking off 16, 17, 18? I'm like, no, I feel good. They're like, we're struggling. I said, well, if you're struggling, let me tell you what you need. Put those beers away. This is what you need. And it was interesting for them to see me because they haven't seen me play since before, during the cancer and the chemo. They're like, you're a different guy. You can play 18 holes. And I said, that's the big thing is I can play 18 holes right now. So that, and Drive Force, I say, I thank you very much.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You know, Drive Force supplement, we've talked about this a whole lot. Your pre-workout supplement, your 18-hole supplement, it's filled with herbs and vitamins designed to keep you more clear thinking, designed to support your electrolyte needs, especially in the heat, and designed to give you like stamina and energy. It's a perfect beverage. And I did not have it on Sundays. I relied on alcohol. And the game totally suffered. I didn't drink a lot. I had a really good time, you know, and it wasn't my best round, but I had some really cool moments out there.
And that's all. You get those moments that bring you back, like you said.
They bring you back. And I try and celebrate. If I'm hitting my woods strong all day, the sound, the feel, the flight, watching them soar through the air, I have to celebrate that because it doesn't always work that way.
No, it does not. I was hitting my sand wedge really good on Sunday. And because I've been working with Rob West out of Arizona, we've been doing videos and trying to go back and forth. And he just kind of broke my swing down and having me fix it. And it's kind of hard to do that remotely. But I've added, you know, maybe 10, 12 yards, 15 yards on my swing. My sand wedge is now going 110 easy. My gap wedge is going 130, and I have no idea where a lot of my other, you know, my other irons are going. So I have to start reeling those in. But I hit, and it was a beautiful one. I was on a par 4, my second shot into the par 4, one of my greens in regulation, and I hit a beautiful high arcing sand wedge, went about 105 yards, hit, and then backed up 7, 8 feet. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Who are you? Yeah.
No, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Oh, no.
And I haven't really done that because we are high digit, you know, 12, 15 handicap golfers. So It was fun to watch. It was really fun. And then I'm thinking the first thing I thought of was you. When I hit that, I go, I'm going to break 80 soon. I know I'm going to break 80.
I there's nothing like being on the golf course, even or -1 going through 4, and then I shoot off the text to my good friend Joel and saying, "Hey, buddy, today is the day. I'm gonna break 80. I'm 1 under, rolling into 5, and then triple bogey." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wow, why am I even talking about this?"
You realize the golf gods are up there monitoring everybody, going, Kimmy just texted she's going to break 80. Do it.
Right. Rule number 1 of golf club is don't talk about golf club until you leave the golf club.
Mhm.
And then you can tell everybody what
Yeah.
you shot. But mid round, you can't get ahead of yourself. You
No.
stay super focused.
It's funny because I have another guy. He's a long drive champion, so he hits the ball like 350, 360. He just crushes it, and he's getting into it. And he's a pretty good golfer. He's probably an 8 or 9 handicap. You know, he's in the high 70s consistently. And he texted me about 2 weeks ago. Says, I started off birdie par birdie. This is my round. I go, dude, you understand what you just did? He goes, no, I feel it. And I didn't hear anything for about an hour and a half. And I text him back. But we call him Boomer because he's a big golfer. I go, Boomer, with a question mark. He goes, don't ask.
And that's what happens to me because you notice I'm so excited. I am texting you. I got the selfies. I'm like shooting them over to you. And then you don't hear from me for a couple of hours.
Yes,
and
that's
you
our-
don't know what's going on.
I'm either worried that you got heat stroke, but then I realize I know what it is. You've lost 2 balls. You wanted to throw the driver in the creek. Give me a drink. I'm taking the 13th hole off. Is what you're doing.
That's right. This girl needs to keep her mouth shut when she's playing well and just keep it moving. That's what I see my friends do when they're playing really, really well. Just witnessed my friend break 80 for the first time and then several more times at the Five in Las Vegas. But you know what he's doing? He's focused. He's keeping it to himself. He's staying in his game like they suggest. And then he's breaking. So how about our Captain America this past weekend, the Travelers Open, creeping on a come up, Keegan Bradley to finish with a bird, and it looked like he just closed the Ryder Cup tournament. His celebration was so big and intense. You know, these golfers, they buckle it all in, they keep it all in like I'm supposed to while I play. And then they let it all out on the green of the 18, good or bad, you know, because Fleetwood, it was not a celebration.
No, it wasn't. Do you think that because of that, Keegan is on the Ryder Cup now? He doesn't want to pick himself. Do you think he's going to be on there just because he's going to qualify?
You know, I guess he's got to be within the top 6 to.
Yeah, I have the top 6 right up here. He's number 9. Yeah, he's number 9 right now.
Okay, he's number 9 right now. Mm-hmm. Brother, you are close enough and you're on fire. If you're on fire, you're on a heat streak, you got to play the player. And you're just climbing the leaderboard ranks. So I don't think we need any more information. Keegan Bradley's on the team. We have other strong vice captains. They've been there before. They're very experienced. All the support is in place. Let's make history, baby.
I agree. I'm going to run down these the top 6 who are already there. Obviously, Scotty, number 1. You know that he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Number 2, good choice. He'll be there.
Yeah, never surprises me.
Number 3, I would not have picked this guy at the start of the season to be on the Ryder Cup if you gave me 50 picks. JJ.
I love this guy so much. I'm so excited about it. Again, a guy who's hot, climbing that. In the beginning of the season, it would have surprised JJ Spawn.
Yes, it would. That's a good point. It would have surprised him too. Number 4 is Russell.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Number 5 is Bryson. He needs to be there because he's just a showman. And then number 6 is just. He's good.
I love him so much. I always agree with the JT. JT's a gamer, man. Him in any like Ryder Cup, President's Cup, that guy is so fired up. He brings the energy for the whole team.
I would have him on there.
Yeah, he's such a team player.
Would you have Jordan?
I mean, so I would go back and forth on that. JT and Spieth, obviously best buds, and they could feed off of each other and support a team.
Yep.
Where's Spieth ranked right now?
25th in the Ryder Cup. And he just pulled out of the Travelers with
Ooh,
that was the first time in 250 tournaments that he's.
interesting.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how it's going to affect him with the Open Championship that's coming up at Royal Portrush.
Yeah. I wonder where Morikawa's ranked right now. I actually don't know, but he's an Iron King. Yeah. So, I mean, we got Morikawa on the board.
What about Ben Griffin? Ben Griffin, and he's won a couple times this year.
Mm-hmm.
Harris English is 10th. There's a lot of people that you look at this going, wow, Maverick McNeely and Brian Harman are the top 12. It's interesting.
There's some hot players up there for sure. I still go, I still say, Keegan Bradley, you're too good to just be the captain.
Agree.
Yeah, you can't withhold your services from the United States of America.
I agree with that. And I could see him as a player captain. And then on Sunday, when they do the singles matches and the Europeans bring out their list, and then we match who we're going to do, Keegan going, give me Rory. I'm going to take that little boy down. I'm going to take him down. Because I know that.
Can you imagine?
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Is Keegan the guy you won up against Rory? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, what we saw out of Keegan this week demonstrated a strong leader and a strong player. He was filled with so much fire. He could do either.
Yes, I believe it's going to be an interesting Ryder Cup. It's going to be at Bethpage Black up in New York. That's a tough course. Now, because of that, and I've asked, do you change the Ryder Cup to fit the course, or do you just keep? I don't think you paused, didn't it?
Yeah, right. I'm not sure you change the Ryder Cup. Yeah.
To fit the 12 best players and not say, I'm going to bypass Harman because he's not a long hitter and go with Akshay Patia because he's a longer hitter. You wouldn't do that. You would just stay with the top.
Well, I guess that's a big question. How tight? Yeah, that's a very good question.
How much do you want to win, or how much do you want to reward the best players?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think you want to win first.
I think you want to win first.
Foremost.
So you leave off of Brian Harman, who's not a long hitter, and go down and get someone else who can hit the ball longer and straighter. But Brian Harman is a very, very consistent player. He won the Open Championship last year, and that's a tough course. So I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a captain.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not making those decisions either. And Keegan Bradley, he's been doing this so long, and all these guys have played these courses so much. We're in good hands, and I think we've won the last 7 times the Ryder Cup has been on U.S. soil? Something like that.
We can't go overseas and win, can we? We got a bus one last time.
Yeah. I would actually prefer to see Keegan Bradley play this year with this momentum and the guy that I saw on Sunday win it. I'd rather see him in Europe as a player captain. I'd like to see that guy in Europe playing the Ryder Cup because Keegan was so fired up. I mean, all I saw was Ryder Cup energy.
No, I saw that too. And I was thinking when he sank that putt, you're like, that he's got to bring himself on. Staying with the Travelers though, I almost feel sorry that Tommy Fleetwood, and as he's coming up, as he's teeing the ball up on 18, and I texted, I said, he's no longer going to be the best player who's never won on the PGA Tour. He's going to get rid of that. No, he is still the best player who has never won on the PGA Tour. And
there's no doubt. He has 42 top 10s on his PGA and not one. I mean, Fleetwood is a fantastic player. He'll be on the Ryder Cup.
But do you think it's in his head
that was
where he's like, do you think it's in his head that he's like, I can't win. I just can't win on the PGA Tour.
And he may be in his head doing the same thing. I think Rory was doing that to himself for a little while. I think we've watched that the last couple of years. Yeah. I mean, he's openly been in his head, and so many of these guys, Hovland's been so kind to share his mental journey with us. But, and it's like me, I go up to my number 3 on my home course. all the time, and there's water at the end of the fairway, and I can stick it right at the end of the fairway. It's about 200 yards, but I've got to carry the water to get on the green. And I put it in the water, even though I can make that distance with my 8-iron again and again. I hit it on my par 3 every time. Yeah. So probably 60 to 70% of the time I go in the water there. It is a mental game. It's so infuriating. And it's not because I have a great intimidation about water. It's the mental problem. So I get it. Yeah.
It's this mental problem, and Fleetwood, he's there. But I think I think once he wins the first, he'll win a bunch. Just like you and I, once we score 79 for the first time, we'll do it 5 or 6 more times in the next couple months. But it's that plank time you do it that you just need to push yourself over.
No doubt. There's a book by Dr. Bob Rotella, who is currently Rory McIlroy's golf psychology coach or golf psychologist. He's one of the greatest golf psychologists and sports psychologists. And he says this thing: if you think of yourself as a bogey golfer, you can be shooting birdie, birdie, par, par, birdie, but the brain thinks it's a bogey golfer. So it's going to bring itself back to like homeostasis of golf. So you're going to go double, double, double. And that's what I do to myself. So maybe that's what Fleetwood's doing out there, is he said in his mind he's won PGA tournaments before, but
you know what? You can put it on your mind all you want. On paper, you haven't won yet, unfortunately.
I know. 42 top tens. I can't feel that bad for him. This guy's made a lot of money. He has a fantastic career. There are people fighting to get on the PGA Tour right now. So 42 top tens, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good.
Now, let me ask you a question. Would you rather, let's say you were on the LPGA Tour and you played for 10, 12 years, 12, 15 years, you played there. You never won a tournament ever, but you made stars. You won like 3 times, but you really sucked the rest of the time, and you only made like 5 or 6 million.
That's a great question. I'd have to think for a minute about legacy. Because, how do you want this legacy discussed? Somebody like Fleetwood, he's so good. He qualifies for the Ryder Cup. He qualifies for the President's Cup. So you're still in the club. You're still playing in the club, in the crew of the best world. 3 wins all time and nothing ever again. You're not making those teams.
No, you're, I'm kind of like, and maybe it's just, but if no one ever knew me and they gave me a bunch of money, I wouldn't be upset, because I don't care about the fame, the fortune, or anything. I like to make the money portion of it.
Yeah.
If I can go out there, Kevin Kisner, best quote I have ever heard anybody say about golf. They asked him, "Do you think you're going to win every time you go out?" And he says, "Hell no, but it pays really good."
You know what? I love Kisner. That's a good dude right there. And that's where, some of us are just grateful to be here in the room, to be doing this dream of being involved in golf, maybe a career, however you find it. If golf is your passion and you can find a way to work in that, and probably you're not as picky. So, I guess I would take just kind of being in the conversation, making the cuts, making enough money to live off of. 42 top tens.
Take 42 top 10s and no victories.
I would take 42 top 10s, no victories. It's probably frustrating. And Tommy Fleetwood, hang in there. You're one of the best in the world.
Yes, he would. But you know what? Then I would turn that into a great podcast. I'd be calling it 42 and no wins is what I would call it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm going to flip the switch here real quick. And we do have a text line, 843-418-3673, for anyone who has to ask questions. And for you. And they said, "I've been watching the podcast. I've been watching the videos, because I've had videos on there too." And he goes, "Wrists." That's what he wanted to know. That was what he didn't care about how we're shooting. He didn't care about the scores. He asked, "What's on your wrist?" I go, "There's nothing on mine."
I have a variety of tattoos, but the wrist tattoos we have here, and this one here, if you can see it.
Yes.
My friends in Scotland and Ireland will know this is the Celtic knot, the Celtic Trinity, baby.
Yep.
And I got that on St. Patrick's Day, probably 15 years ago.
Okay, was there alcohol involved when you got the
Yeah,
TCL?
always a little alcohol on St. Patrick's Day. So, but there was not a lot because you know, a tattoo artist will not tattoo you if you've been drinking.
Correct.
So you have to tell them you haven't been drinking and then get your tattoo. And if you look like you've been drinking, they're not going to tattoo you. So this was actually my first tattoo ever. And it's I am Scottish and Irish. We're the Archer clan in Scotland, baby. And so this is my Celtic Trinity.
I love that. See, I'm from the Gun Clan in the Highlands of Scotland. So,
Love it.
and I love it. If I had a chance, I would go to Scotland and just play golf all year. Well, you can't play all year round. I would go there and play every of the great courses. I would play that. I would live. I would move from. They even have to have a long airplane to come visit me.
I would do that. I'm there. Count me in. St. Andrews, baby.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Birthplace of golf.
Yes.
And of organized golf anyway. And I would be about that. That's on the to-do list. That will be happening for sure. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, I'll be on my own Ireland, Scotland golf tour. And I'll go for a few weeks for sure. You got to get it all out.
You do that. I'll make sure I'm there so we can. Can you imagine doing the podcast? And welcome. This is Breaking 80 from.
Oh, I think we should make a plan for that. Let's
That is so cool.
here.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I think that we should definitely make a plan for that.
Wow. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Cool.
I saw a quote from Scotty Scheffler yesterday, and he says it is June 23rd. All of the elevated events are done, and 3 of the 4 majors are done. That's kind of depressing. They should move the PGA back to September because the good quality golf.
I was thinking about that too, and we've got quite the stretch from the end of the golf season until, the first tournament kicks off in Hawaii or wherever that is in February or something like that.
In January at the Wailea.
Yeah, that's a really depressing time of year. And this is where the TGL comes into play.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Right.
Yeah. We need this TGL when the season is over. They're going to have to start it a little earlier than they did last year. I don't think we want as much crossover.
No.
We start to lose our attention from the TGL at the end of the TGL season, which is arguably the hot point of the season.
Yeah, yes. We were doing our podcast, and you're texting me, oh, TGL. And I'm like, no, I'm not watching this crappy TGL stuff because it's not real golf. But you know what? Since you want to talk about it, let me turn it on. And it was like, oh, this is cool. This is really cool. And then I'm watching it, and you're not. And I have to be quiet. It's happening. I'm like, that's just full weight. Can't say.
The TGL for me.
I know. And you see, obviously, Tiger Woods, he's a showman. Keegan Bradley did really good at the TGL because he's a showman. Justin Rose was a great person there because he's a showman. It's really cool who steps up and plays that part of to the crowd. Oh, yes, Kimmy was a great guy.
He was such a superstar. He made me a Tom Kim groupie during the TGL. I had so much fun watching him.
We have to figure out where those are and go to some of those.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Well, they're in South Florida, baby. They're in like the Jupiter area, roughly. So, oh yeah, we can hit up some TGL.
Let me see how far I am from Jupiter, Florida, from where my office is right now. You know what? If that's it, Jupiter away.
There you go.
I'm driving.
I used to drive through Jupiter, Florida when I would head to South Florida and back from Northeast Ohio once a year. I'd head down there and play golf for a month. But Jupiter, Florida was nice for me to look at. I know that it exists. I have never stopped and played there. But that's the home of the pros, baby.
You come down there, we'll go to a TGL event and we'll...
Sounds expensive. I'm in. So
he just talked to my husband and go, you know what? I need to borrow some money. We're heading out. He'll be like, Dave, right?
Yeah, I'm all in on that trip for sure.
Yeah. Our spouses will be sitting over there while we're doing our podcast and be like, hurry this thing up. No, we're not hurrying this thing up.
Like, are we ready to play or what? I know my husband's down for some Jupiter, Florida golf. So
My wife will be there too, no problem.
yeah, I'm all about it.
I will guarantee you it will be the only time I've ever played golf with a nurse and a course.
I love it. Yeah, let's do that.
Except that
All those specialties
I
there.
will, because last Saturday I played golf with 2 attorneys, and that very interesting round of golf. I will tell you that. They're very meticulous and very. They want everything to be nice and normal. And you're
Sticking to the rules? Are they watching your clubs in the bunker? Are you getting the extra strokes?
well, they're like, well, Norton, you're away. You can hit first, but he's not to his ball. And I'm like, Margaret, just hit the ball. He's going to take another 30 seconds. We're playing ready golf. We got people behind us. If you're up to your ball and he's not there, it doesn't matter if he's 4 yards behind you. Just hit. And that's how I am. It's like, no, but you got to because no, go ahead.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
You don't want to play as an attorney. Trust me.
That's great.
It is.
Great. How funny.
What else you got?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been thinking about John Rahm and the Ryder Cup. So, yeah, do you know he may not technically qualify for the Ryder Cup this year?
Yeah, when I brought up the American side, I brought up the European side, and obviously it's Rory, Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, McIntyre, Lowry, Sepp Straka. I went down to find Rombo team.
You know, Rahm's in a little bit of trouble with the DP Tour this year. He chose some LIV events over some DP events that were going on at the same time. And they're actually in the middle of considering suspensions and fines. And he's appealing all of it. But if he has a suspension coming or impending, he may not qualify for the Ryder Cup team.
Now, let's say that all of that was nothing. And you are Luke Donald. And you are the captain of the European team. Do you take Rombo at 17 over an Olsen or a Peterson or an Aaron Rai? Do you take him over that?
You know, I don't actually know because I love John Rahm. I love his shoes, but I love John Rahm. This is the thing. Somebody like Keegan is so important. You got to be like really on fire. I think you combine maybe what you were talking about earlier, who's right for the course, as well as what is their momentum? Where are they at right now? Have they kind of been asleep at the wheel? Because we really don't need that.
Yeah.
We need the guy who's on fire right now.
Mm-hmm.
Rahm might be, but.
Hey, he did good in the championship.
He did. There's always a little bit of question. These live players versus these PGA guys, do they have what it takes to hang? But I think, when you get the Ryder Cup going, everybody's so extra up. So that can kind of.
It's going to be interesting.
Difference.
It's going to be interesting. I would take Rombo just because of the fan appeal, but because he just knows how to turn it up at an important event. If it's not an important event, he won't do it. But if it's that, he can take a level.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I really believe he's one of the top 5 greatest golfers in the world. He's just no longer on the PGA Tour. He is John Rahm. He's a lot of fun to watch.
I think,
and we miss him on the PGA.
You and I should get to live in the PGA together and say, you know what? We're not leaving this room until we come to an agreement and everybody shakes hands, kisses babies, and take because we need the PGA and the LIV to be together and doing this.
I know. And, I think we can offset the seasons just a little bit. Where's Bryson at? Bryson, you're like the marketing guy. I think we can just kind of stagger these season starts and ends just a little bit so we can add a little bit more LIV action into our lives. And then these guys can crossover play. Why does the DP and the PGA need to own these guys so hard that they cannot play somewhere else? I don't think there's anything wrong with a little healthy competition.
I don't either. I think it's good. I think they're going to come together soon. They've got to come together soon.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
Speaking of crossover tournaments, I have to give a shout out to the GGPM or the Mexican Tour, but mostly to my good friend Isaac Rodea, the Mexican. So really exciting. He's playing in the California State Open today. Yesterday, I went and watched him play at the Bear Creek Golf Course in Marietta, California,
Wow.
where he went 1 under. And today he's working on making the cut. This kid is an up and comer, and yeah, now he's going to be on the Mexican Golf Tour. So he is a pro golfer. He's an up and comer. He's a name to remember, Isaac Rodea. He's a big hitter, and he has a lot of potential. He's a big hitter who can keep it on the fairways and go 350. He's an impressive driver. He's an even nicer person. His irons are fire. So, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations, Isaac Rodea. I'm going to let you know that I'm talking about you today. Maybe I'll have a little bit of footage for you on my Instagram. Maybe I'll add some Isaac video to this podcast.
Do it. By all means, do it.
Yeah, he's really fun to watch, man. He's so fire out of the sands, the spin he puts on the balls. I'm blessed to get to play with this kid, this young man. He's like 24. I'm blessed to get to play with him. And when you play beside someone who's just about to make the PGA Tour and just made another professional tour, it's really exciting to watch golf like that in real time. And I feel like, I think it was Siwoo Kim who said when he played with Scotty Scheffler, and they said, what was that like? And he said, I just have so much more work to do. This guy is so much better than everyone when you're standing next to him and playing. So that's what it's like for us when we're playing around our buddy. He's so much better than everyone. Even watching him on this tournament yesterday, the other golfers pale in comparison, and you can just see that there, so.
It is kind of daunting when you're playing with people who are really, really good. I think you're kind of like, well, I really can't mess this up. And you hit a bad drive and they're like, don't worry about everybody. You guys don't.
That's right. I know.
You look at it and say, please just slice one into the trees. Make me feel good. How's that?
Right. No doubt about it. But they won't, because that's not how they're built. And yeah, he's such an ace. Yeah, next up and comer. So that's a guy to keep an eye on, Isaac Rodea. I bet we'll see him on the tour in the next couple of years. He's got to earn his keep. He's got to make his rounds, doing the Q School, the Corn Ferry, the Mexican Tour, and from Long Beach State. And yeah, he's got it all.
He's our official golfer for the Breaking 80 podcast. He's the one that we're going to be watching. He's the one that we're going to be pulling for. So we will have every week, we're going to have an Isaac Rodea update.
Most definitely. And hopefully next year or next week, we're talking about how he did so well on this California State Open.
That would be
really fun to talk about.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah, he had 4 birdies yesterday. And he finished 1 under.
Last month.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, 4 birdies on one day. Yeah, this kid just fires off birds, and he was real close with an eagle, and that would have been a lot of fun to see. But
it would have been. Well, we're going to have to wrap this up again. This is so much fun. I enjoyed doing this. Day 2?
I'm going to be there.
Of course you are. You're always there.
Yeah.
I love it. This is Joel Wilson, and I will see you next Tee Box.
Until next time, yo, girl Tammy. Bye.